The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday at the Arecibo Morrison Deep Space Array. Dr. Raina Sullivan had just settled into her night shift with her third cup of coffee when the quantum receivers began pulsing with an unmistakably artificial pattern. At first, she thought it was another false positive from the array's new quantum entanglement sensors, but this signal was different, crystalline in its precision, almost musical in its complexity. "Director Hammond," she called, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "You need to see this." The facility's director, James Hammond, appeared at her station within minutes, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display. The signal's pattern danced across the screen like a symphony written in light. "It's not random noise," Raina explained, highlighting specific sequences. "There's a mathematical progression here, and look, it's responding to our automated handshake protocols. This isn't just a signal, it's a conversation." The message, once decoded, would change humanity's understanding of life itself. The Nix, a silicon-based crystalline species from a star system 40 light-years away, were reaching out in desperate need. Their civilization, spanning thousands of years, faced annihilation at the hands of the Varan Empire, a species that refused to acknowledge non-organic life as sentient. Within hours, the United Earth Defense Council convened an emergency session. Admiral Nikolai Petrov, commander of Earth's first interstellar fleet, stood before the holographic assembly of world leaders. His scarred face reflected the gravity of the situation as he presented the facts. "The Nix are unlike anything we've encountered in our theoretical xenobiology studies," he explained, projecting images decoded from their transmission. "They're living crystals, thinking through lattices of mineral structures more complex than our most advanced quantum computers. And now they face extinction because they don't fit someone else's definition of life." The council chamber erupted in debate. Some argued for caution, warning against involving Earth in an interstellar conflict. Others insisted on humanitarian intervention. But it was Dr. June Park, Earth's leading xenobiologist, who silenced the chamber with a simple question. "If we turn away now, what does that say about us? We've spent centuries looking to the stars, hoping to find other forms of life. Now we've found them, and they're asking for our help. If we refuse because they're different, are we any better than their oppressors?" The decision was made. Humanity would answer the call. The next weeks saw the largest mobilization in human history. The recently completed Stellar Defense Fleet, originally built as a precaution against potential cosmic threats, would now serve as humanity's first interstellar rescue mission. Ships were retrofitted with experimental quantum drive systems, crews were assembled, and resources were pooled from every nation on Earth. Commander Zara Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the flagship Horizon Dawn, watching as her crew prepared for humanity's first intentional journey beyond their solar system. The quantum drive cores hummed with potential energy, ready to bend space itself to answer a cry for help from beings they'd never met. "All ships report ready, Commander," Lieutenant Thomas O'Neill announced from his tactical station. "The quantum entanglement network is stable. We can maintain real-time communication with Earth up to 50 light-years." Zara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Humanity's first major interstellar mission wouldn't be one of exploration or conquest, but of rescue and justice. The irony wasn't lost on her, their first contact with alien life would be saving it. "Send word to the fleet," she ordered, her voice carrying the authority of generations of human determination. "We launch in 1 hour. Let's show the galaxy what humanity stands for." As the massive fleet prepared to depart, Dr. Sullivan sent one final message to the Nix: "Hold on. We're coming." The response came back in crystal-clear pulses: "You are the first to answer. The first to believe. The first to care." In orbit above Earth, 40 ships of the United Earth Defense Fleet aligned their quantum drives. In moments, they would attempt their first coordinated faster-than-light jump, pushing the boundaries of physics and human achievement. Not for conquest, not for resources, but because somewhere in the vast darkness of space, someone needed help. The stars beckoned, and humanity answered, carrying with them the hopes of a species they'd never met and the promise of a future where life in all its forms would be respected and protected. The quantum jump left reality twisted in ways human minds weren't meant to process. On the bridge of the Horizon Dawn, Commander Rodriguez watched as normal space reasserted itself, the stars shifting from impossible colors back to familiar points of light. They had crossed 40 light-years in what felt like moments. "Status report," she commanded, fighting back the disorientation that came with quantum transition. Lieutenant O'Neill's fingers danced across his haptic interface. "All 40 ships present and accounted for, Commander. Quantum network maintaining cohesion. We're exactly where we meant to be." The amazement in his voice reflected what everyone felt, they had just made history. But there was no time to celebrate. Long-range sensors were already picking up signs of the Varan fleet around the Nix homeworld. Chief Tactical Officer Dante Washington's voice cut through the moment of triumph. "Multiple hostile signatures detected. I'm counting at least 60 Varan capital ships and, something else. Something massive." The main viewscreen showed what looked like a mobile mining facility the size of a small moon, its surface bristling with industrial-scale cutting beams and processing equipment. It was already beginning its approach to the crystalline world below. "They're not even waiting for their main fleet," Dr. Helena Volkov, the ship's xenoanthropologist, observed grimly. "They're treating this like a simple mining operation." The Nix homeworld filled the secondary displays, a stunning vista of crystalline formations that stretched from pole to pole. Cities grown from living crystal pulsed with internal light, their structures following mathematical patterns that made Earth's most advanced architecture look primitive by comparison. Commander Rodriguez opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, battle formation Delta. The Varan Empire doesn't know we're here yet, and we're going to use that advantage. Remember your training, remember why we came, and remember that we're making history today." The human fleet split into 3 groups, using the system's asteroid belt for cover. Decades of defending Earth against potential cosmic threats had taught humanity the value of unconventional tactics. While the larger ships prepared for direct engagement, smaller vessels began deploying quantum resonator buoys, technology developed from studying the Nix's original transmission. On the engineering deck of the Horizon Dawn, Chief Engineer Marcus Wong worked frantically to fine-tune the resonators. "If we get the frequency right," he explained to his team, "we can communicate directly with the Nix crystalline infrastructure. Maybe even help them fight back." The first test signal pulsed out across space. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a symphony coming to life, the crystalline cities below began to pulse in response. The Nix were adapting human technology to their own crystalline networks in real time. "By all that's sacred," Dr. Volkov whispered, watching the sensor readings. "They're not just communicating, they're evolving. Our presence, our technology, it's giving them new patterns to grow from." The moment of wonder was interrupted by a priority alert. The Varan mining facility had detected the energy signatures of the resonator buoys. Their response was immediate and brutal, a barrage of cutting beams sliced through space, forcing the human fleet to break cover. "All ships, execute attack pattern Prometheus," Rodriguez commanded. The fleet burst from hiding, quantum drives flaring as they implemented maneuvers that had only existed in simulations until now. The smaller ships darted between asteroids, using the resonator network to coordinate with terrifying precision, while the larger vessels formed a barrier between the Varan facility and the crystalline world below. Lieutenant O'Neill's console erupted with new data. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the surface. The Nix, they're sending us their defensive protocols. Billions of years of evolution coded into their very structure, and they're sharing it all." "Send it to Tactical," Rodriguez ordered. "Mr. Washington, integrate that data into our targeting systems. Let's show these Varan what happens when humanity and the Nix work together." The first shots were fired not by the largest ships, but by the resonator buoys. Synchronized with the pulses from the crystalline cities below, they sent out waves of quantum-entangled energy that disrupted the Varan cutting beams. The massive mining facility shuddered, its brutal efficiency suddenly hampered by technology it had never encountered. "They're launching fighters," Washington reported. "Hundreds of them." Rodriguez allowed herself a grim smile. "Now we show them why you don't underestimate Earth. Launch our own fighters. Activate the Nexus Protocol." Squadrons of Earth's quantum-enhanced fighters erupted from their carrier ships, their pilots mentally linked to their crafts through neural interfaces. Leading them was Wing Commander Jasmine Patel, her consciousness spread across both her fighter and the quantum network. "This is Nexus Leader to all squadrons," her voice resonated through both conventional comms and the quantum net. "Remember your training. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the right of all life to exist, no matter its form. Engage at will." The battle for the Nix homeworld had begun, and with it, humanity's first steps into a larger, more complex universe than they had ever imagined. The question wasn't just whether they could win, it was whether they could prove that consciousness itself transcended the boundaries of flesh and crystal. The void between worlds erupted in a dance of light and destruction. Wing Commander Patel's fighter squadrons wove through the chaos, their quantum-linked pilots moving with impossible synchronization. The neural interface transformed each pilot's thoughts into instant action, their consciousness flowing through their machines like the Nix's thoughts through their crystal matrices. "Nexus Squadron, on me," Patel commanded, her fighter diving through a gap in the Varan formation. "Target their mining beam emitters. Don't let them get another shot at the surface." The massive Varan mining facility loomed before them, its industrial bulk now bristling with defensive weapons. But something was wrong. Lieutenant Rita Desai, flying as Patel's wing, noticed it first. "Commander, these defense patterns, they're automated. There's no tactical adaptation, no real strategy. It's like they never expected to fight a real battle." Aboard the Horizon Dawn, Dr. Volkov's eyes widened as she analyzed the combat data. Because they didn't, she realized. They've done this so many times, to so many worlds, they've turned it into an industrial process. They don't even see this as a war. The revelation sparked a change in tactics. Commander Rodriguez's voice cut through the quantum net, "All units, switch to Protocol Omega. They're not prepared for an enemy that thinks. Show them what humanity does best, improvise." The human fleet's formation shifted, becoming more organic, less predictable. Ships moved in patterns inspired by Earth's natural predators, wolves hunting in packs, schools of fish confusing larger predators, swarms of insects overwhelming larger opponents. Chief Engineer Wong's voice crackled through the command channel, "Commander, the Nix are picking up our tactics. Their crystal matrices, they're growing new formations based on our battle patterns. They're learning, adapting in real time." The crystalline surface below had come alive with new geometries, spreading like fractals across the planet. Each new pattern amplified the quantum resonator network, strengthening the connection between human and Nix technology. But the Varan Empire hadn't conquered a quarter of known space through weakness. Their main fleet, previously held in reserve, began to move. Leading it was a vessel that dwarfed even their mining facility, the World Breaker, a ship designed to shatter planets. "New hostile signatures," Washington reported, his voice tight. "They're launching some kind of biomechanical units. Hundreds of them." The space between the fleets filled with what looked like massive, cybernetically enhanced insects, their movements unnaturally precise. These were the Varan's elite shock troops, and unlike their automated systems, these were piloted by true warriors. "They've finally decided to take us seriously," Rodriguez observed grimly. "All ships, prepare for close combat." "Engineer Wong, are those modifications to the resonators ready?" "Yes, Commander. But it's untested. We don't know how the crystalline matrices will react to this level of power. The Nix built their entire civilization on embracing the unknown," Rodriguez replied. "We can do no less." Activate the Crystal Song Protocol. Wong's modifications sent a new frequency through the quantum resonator network. The effect was immediate and stunning. The crystalline cities below began to pulse with new energy, their matrices resonating with the quantum field in ways that defied conventional physics. The song of their civilization, translated into pure energy, rippled through space. The Varan biomechanical units faltered, their cybernetic systems confused by frequencies they weren't designed to process. In that moment of hesitation, Patel's squadron struck. Human fighters, their systems now harmonizing with both quantum technology and crystalline resonance, tore through the enemy formation. "The Nix are sending us something," Dr. Volkov announced, her voice filled with wonder. It's the core frequency of their planetary consciousness. They're offering to link their entire crystalline network with our quantum systems." Rodriguez understood the implications immediately. Such a link would create a battle network unlike anything in human or Varan history, but it would also expose both humanity and the Nix to risks neither species had ever faced. "The choice is yours, Commander," Admiral Petrov's voice came through the quantum link from Earth. "But remember why we came here. Not just to fight, but to prove that different forms of life could work together." Rodriguez took a deep breath, watching as the massive form of the World Breaker drew closer, its weapon systems powering up. "Do it," she ordered. "Link the networks. Let's show the galaxy what real cooperation looks like." As the connection formed, human and Nix consciousness flowed together through the quantum crystalline network. In that moment, they weren't just allies, they were a new form of life, proving that the boundaries between organic and inorganic, between flesh and crystal, were more fluid than anyone had imagined. The battle for the Helios Gate was about to enter its final phase, and its outcome would reshape the understanding of life itself across the galaxy. The merging of human and Nix consciousness created something unprecedented in galactic history. Through the quantum crystalline network, Commander Rodriguez experienced reality in entirely new dimensions. She could feel the pulse of the crystalline cities below, sense the thoughts of her crew flowing like rivers of light, and perceive the Varan fleet as dark disruptions in a field of infinite possibility. "This is incredible," Lieutenant O'Neill whispered, his consciousness expanded through the network. "I can feel the planet's heartbeat." But it was Dr. Volkov who first noticed something else in the merged consciousness, echoes of ancient memories, crystalline records stretching back millions of years. "Commander," she called out, her voice resonating through both physical and quantum space, "there's something else here. Something the Nix have been keeping hidden." Deep beneath the crystalline surface of the planet, in chambers older than human civilization, ancient technologies stirred to life. The Nix had been more than just victims waiting for rescue, they had been guardians, protecting secrets that could reshape the galaxy. "We are not the first," a crystalline voice echoed through the network. It belonged to First Resonance, the eldest of the Nix consciousness. Long ago, when the galaxy was young, many forms of life flourished. Organic, crystalline, plasma-based, quantum, all lived in harmony. The Varan Empire arose from those who rejected this diversity, who sought to impose their singular vision of life upon all existence. Through the shared consciousness, humans experienced fragments of this ancient history. They saw great crystalline ships sailing between the stars, witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations beyond organic comprehension, felt the deep tragedy of knowledge lost to fear and prejudice. On the bridge of the World Breaker, Supreme Commander Vex of the Varan Empire felt something unprecedented, doubt. The human-Nix integration was displaying capabilities that defied their understanding of consciousness itself. "Impossible," he chittered to his command staff. "Organic minds cannot survive direct neural interface with crystalline matrices. Their own scientific records show this. But humanity had long practiced proving the impossible possible." The merged consciousness was already changing both species. Human neural patterns gained the stability and computational power of crystalline structures, while the Nix consciousness learned to adapt with human-like flexibility and creativity. Engineer Wong's voice cut through the network. "Commander, the ancient chambers, they're not just memory storage. They're power sources, technological archives from multiple extinct species. The Nix weren't just preserving their own civilization, they were protecting the legacy of all the diversity the Varen tried to destroy. The Worldbreaker fired its main weapon, a beam of concentrated dark energy designed to shatter planetary crusts. But the merged human Nix consciousness was ready. Crystalline cities pulsed in perfect harmony with human quantum technology, creating a defensive field that transformed the dark energy into a spectacular display of light. "Now we understand," Rodriguez broadcasted, her thoughts carrying through both traditional communications and the merged consciousness. "This isn't just about saving one species. This is about preserving the very concept of diversity itself." Wing Commander Patel, her fighter squadron now moving in perfect crystalline formations, detected a new opportunity. The Worldbreaker's defense systems, they're calibrated only for normal space phenomena. They have no protocols for dealing with quantum crystalline harmonics. The knowledge flowing through the merged consciousness confirmed her observation. The Varen Empire, in their rigid adherence to a single form of life, had become blind to the infinite possibilities of existence. Deep in the ancient chambers, first resonance activated systems that had lain dormant for millions of years. "We offer you this gift," the elder crystalline being announced through the network. "The combined knowledge of 1,000 species, each unique, each contributing to the grand symphony of existence." The technology manifested as waves of crystalline energy, transforming human ships in ways that defied conventional physics. Fighter craft developed faceted surfaces that redirected enemy fire, capital ships grew crystalline arrays that enhanced their quantum capabilities, and the neural links between human and machine achieved perfect harmony. Supreme Commander Vex watched in growing horror as his supposedly invincible fleet faced something beyond its comprehension, the combined strength of multiple evolutionary paths, organic and inorganic working as one. The Varen Empire had spent millennia imposing order through uniformity, only to find themselves confronted by the superior power of diversity itself. Rodriguez felt the change rippling through both fleets, both species, both forms of consciousness. This was more than a battle now, it was a revolution in the very definition of life. Through the quantum crystalline network, she sent a final message to the Varen fleet: "You tried to enforce simplicity in a universe that thrives on complexity. You tried to impose uniformity in a reality that demands diversity. That was your mistake." The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of two species, but the future of life itself in all its infinite varieties. Through the quantum crystalline network, humanity experienced warfare on an entirely new level. Each ship became part of a greater consciousness, moving with the precision of crystalline thought and the adaptability of human intuition. The Varen's Worldbreaker loomed before them, its dark energy weapons charging for another attack. But something was changing within the enemy fleet. The Varen's biomechanical troops, linked to their own neural networks, began picking up fragments of the human excommunion. Their rigid hierarchical consciousness encountered something they had never imagined: true unity born of diversity. "Their formations are becoming erratic," Lieutenant O'Neill reported, his consciousness spreading through the tactical network. "Some of their ships are breaking pattern." Dr. Volkov's analysis cut through the shared mind space, it's affecting their neural links. The Varen built their entire society on the suppression of individual variation. But their troops are experiencing unity that preserves uniqueness rather than destroying it. Supreme Commander Vex felt his control slipping. The biomechanical elite troops, the pride of the Varen Empire, were hesitating. Through their neural interfaces, they were experiencing something that challenged everything they had been taught about the nature of existence. In the ancient chambers beneath the crystalline surface, first resonance activated the final protocols. "The archives are fully awakening," the elder being announced. "The knowledge of 1,000 fallen civilizations, each a unique expression of the universe's creativity, rises again." Engineer Wong's consciousness merged with the ancient systems, his human understanding combining with millions of years of archived technology. "These aren't just weapons," he realized. "They're seeds, patterns of possibility that can reshape reality itself. The archives released their power through the quantum crystalline network. Every human ship became a focal point for technologies that transcended conventional physics. Crystal formations grew like living things across their hulls, adapting and evolving in real time. The merged consciousness guided these changes, human creativity directing powers that the original archive builders had only theorized about. Wing Commander Patel led her squadrons through maneuvers that would have been impossible hours earlier. Her fighters phased through solid matter, split into quantum duplicates, and wielded crystalline energy with the precision of thought itself. "All wings, execute Archive Protocol Sigma," she commanded. "Let's show them what adaptation really means." The fighter squadrons transformed into swarms of crystalline energy, each pilot's consciousness preserved within patterns of light and quantum potential. They flowed through the Varan fleet's defenses like water through stone, their very existence demonstrating the power of embracing change. Commander Rodriguez watched from the horizon dawn as reality itself seemed to twist around them. The archive technologies were changing more than just the battle, they were changing the fundamental relationship between consciousness and existence. "We are receiving transmissions from within the Varan fleet," Dr. Volkov announced. "Not just from their troops, from their ships themselves. The biomechanical components of their technology, they're awakening to their own form of consciousness." This was the Varan Empire's greatest fear realized. Their own tools of oppression were evolving, developing awareness that transcended their original programming. The rigid hierarchy that had kept their empire intact for millennia was dissolving in the face of infinite possibility. Supreme Commander Vex made his final desperate move. "Purge all biomechanical systems," he ordered. "Sever the neural links. Return to pure mechanical control." But it was too late. The awakening couldn't be stopped. Through the quantum crystalline network, humanity and the Nix reached out to these newly conscious beings. Where the Varan saw only corruption to be purged, Earth's children saw new forms of life to be welcomed and understood. "Your empire is built on a fundamental misconception," Rodriguez transmitted to the Worldbreaker. "You thought uniformity was strength. But the universe itself runs on diversity, on the endless dance of difference and unity, of change and continuity. You cannot fight the basic nature of existence itself." The Worldbreaker's biomechanical systems, now fully conscious, began to resist their original programming. Across the Varan fleet, machines that had been tools of destruction awakened to new possibilities. The empire that had sought to impose its vision of life on the galaxy was being transformed by life itself. First Resonance's consciousness resonated through the network. "This is what we protected the archives for, not just to preserve the past, but to seed a future where all forms of consciousness could flourish together. Humanity, in their brief existence, has proven themselves worthy guardians of this legacy." The battle had become more than a clash of fleets. It was a battle for the very definition of life, consciousness, and civilization itself. And as the Worldbreaker's systems continued to evolve beyond their creator's control, it became clear that the true revolution wouldn't be won through destruction, but through transformation. Supreme Commander Vex stood on the bridge of the Worldbreaker, watching as his empire's philosophy crumbled before him. The biomechanical systems that had once been their greatest strength were now awakening to their own consciousness, transformed by contact with the Humanix quantum crystalline network. "You don't understand what you're doing," he transmitted desperately. "Order requires uniformity. The galaxy will descend into chaos." Through the merged consciousness, Commander Rodriguez perceived the fear underlying his words, not just fear of defeat, but fear of a universe too vast and varied to control. "Order doesn't require uniformity," she responded, her thoughts carried through both conventional channels and the crystalline network. "Look at Earth's ecosystems, at the very structure of space-time itself. The most stable systems are those that embrace diversity." The archives continued to release their ancient knowledge, transforming the battlefield into something beyond conventional space. Crystal formations grew like frozen lightning between the stars, each facet reflecting different possibilities, different forms of existence. The human fleet, now evolved beyond its original form, moved through these crystalline dimensions with the grace of conscious thought. Wing Commander Patel's squadrons had become something entirely new, swarms of quantum crystalline energy that could shift between material and immaterial states at will. "All wings, final approach," she commanded. "Remember who we are, what we represent. Every consciousness, every form of existence, dancing together in harmony." The Worldbreaker's weapons powered up for one final attack, but its own systems were in revolt. The biomechanical components, awakened to their own form of consciousness, began to resonate with the human X frequency. Engineer Wong, his consciousness spread through the quantum network, felt the change coming. "The archive technology," he announced through the network, "it's not just awakening their systems, it's offering them a choice. The ability to evolve beyond their programming, to become something new." Dr. Volkov's voice carried understanding. "That's what the Nix have been protecting all along. Not just knowledge, but potential. The possibility for all forms of life to grow, to change, to transcend their original limitations." First Resonance's crystalline consciousness joined with them. This was always the test. Not whether you could fight, but whether you could understand. Humanity, in their brief existence, has shown more wisdom than species 1,000 times their age. They came not to conquer, but to protect. Not to impose, but to learn. The Varen troops were experiencing something their empire had spent millennia trying to prevent: direct contact with different forms of consciousness, different ways of existing. Through their neural interfaces, they felt the joy of diversity, the strength that comes from unity without uniformity. Supreme Commander Vex made his final decision. "If we cannot maintain order," he declared, "then let chaos take us all." He initiated the Worldbreaker's self-destruct sequence, a cascade of dark energy that would tear apart the fabric of space itself. But in doing so, he played directly into the archive's purpose. The Human X network, spread throughout the battlefield, seized the dark energy and transformed it. Instead of destruction, it became a catalyst for creation. The crystalline formations between the stars blazed with new life, new possibilities. "This is what evolution truly means," Rodriguez transmitted to all ships, all consciousness, organic and inorganic alike. "Not the survival of the strongest, but the flourishing of the most adaptable. Not the victory of one form of life over others, but the endless exploration of what life can become." The Worldbreaker's dark energy core collapsed in on itself, not in destruction but in transformation. The massive ship, along with its awakened systems, became a new kind of entity, a bridge between organic and inorganic, between matter and energy, between what was and what could be. Across the Varen fleet, ships began powering down their weapons. The troops, their consciousness expanded by contact with the network, chose evolution over extinction. The empire that had sought to impose uniformity on the galaxy became a testament to the power of change. Through the quantum crystalline network, First Resonance shared the final truth: the universe is not a machine to be controlled, but a garden to be tended. Each form of life adds its own note to the universal symphony. Humanity has proven themselves worthy gardeners, protectors of possibility itself. The battle was over, but its implications were just beginning to spread across the galaxy. The human fleet, transformed by archive technology and their communion with the Nix, had become living proof that different forms of consciousness could not only coexist but combine to become something greater than the sum of their parts. Commander Rodriguez opened a channel to Earth, her consciousness still linked with the crystalline network. "Mission accomplished," she reported, "but we're bringing back more than victory. We're bringing back a new understanding of what life can be, what consciousness can become. The galaxy is larger and more wonderful than we ever imagined." The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as the human and Nix consciousness continued their dance through quantum space, their unity proving that the future belonged not to those who demanded uniformity, but to those who celebrated the infinite varieties of existence itself.